I decided to do a mechanical reefer. I had played around with some of the other Soundcar uh, decoders, just listen to different sounds, and um, I think they call it the Beast Banner, where you can program it to be a stock car, and it will randomly play um, the sounds of cattle, and if you speed up or slow down too fast and things like that, it will kind of get them riled up. And then there's also a setting for sheep. Um, that's pretty cool. So the more I played around with it, I don't know that I do cattle car, but I did like the mechanical reefer, and so I had ordered one, and it just came in today. So I didn't waste much time. It is a Intermountain, and it has a ton of detail. Um, I'd seen different pictures of it, and I opted to go ahead and put the screens in. It didn't come with, well, it came with the screens, just not installed in place. And then you can see the refrigeration unit through the top there. It's This thing has a ton of detail on it. Um, in the corner, it's probably not going to pick it up, but on the unit itself, it even says carrier. Um, so on this one, I had to really be careful because this is it even has the cut levers. Luckily, they're metal. They're wire. I've done ones in the past that you assemble, and if those are plastic, they're just not going to last. So I milled two slots in there. I really should have taken more time because uh, they didn't come out quite as smooth as the other ones I did, and I know why. I kind of got in a hurry, um, and you can see little dimples in the plastic, and that's because some of the shavings from the weight came flying off the mill, and they were still hot. Of course, the bottom is off when I did this. If you want to see any of the installs that I've done, I've shown one on Railbox car, a 50-foot Railbox, and then some of the I've done two Bethgon coal porters so far, and I want to do a few more of those yet. But it's got the 33-inch, 70-ton Ather Genesis trucks, and I just drill just to the right of where you see that screw, and you can almost see where the wires go up in there. I drill a 1/8 inch hole, and that's probably the way I'll do it for now on. And then on this one, of course, it's the wires go into the just to the left of the screw, and then it's really hard to see. Let's see if I can get. You can kind of sort of see it where if that's brass, the wires coming out. Um, Normally they just go straight up through the truck, but what I do is drill on an angle and run those wires. Yeah, you can kind of see it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get my thumb. Yeah, that's where it normally would go up, is where that solder point is. But what I do is I take the wire back out and use a pin vise and drill on an angle toward the center of the car. And then you can kind of see just to the right of my thumb. It's hard to get, it's hard to see. I hope you can see it. There's two little shiny spots, and that's where the wires are curving and going into the 1/8 inch hole. And see, I'm rocking this thing, and the wires aren't even, I mean, they'll go to the point where they just barely touch the 1/8 inch hole. But since it's so close to the pivot point, there's not going to be any stress or pull on the wire. So anyway, I got the 28 millimeter Soundtraxx speaker in there with the baffle. I do always put the current keeper in with it. I do not like to have any kind of cutout when you're trying to do model railroading and you try to make it as realistic as possible. You got things cutting out and jerking to a stop and all that. That's I just don't like it. Alright, so I'm going to put on the track power now. I've got the probability for the cooling unit come on and off. I think it's set at 128, which is kind of high. So let's see what we get here. Now it's just sitting. Yeah, see, it started almost immediately. Now I had programmed mine so it would automatically cycle. And 128 is, in my opinion, is a bit high. Maybe not if you're modeling in an area that's very warm. But this thing kicks on and off quite a bit. I love the detail. I love the sound of it. It sounds great. And then if I go ahead and I should have been more prepared to get that ready to go. Let's see here. Okay, there we go. So just like any Soundcar, wave the magnet over there and you hear the wheel brake on the end. See how soon it came back on? I'm kind of in love with the sound now, but I'm sure that's going to wear off quite quickly, and I'll dial it back a bit so it's not coming on so much. But anyway, when I first wave the magnet over there, that's the wheel on the end, the brake being, the mechanical brake being taken off, and then you press F function 8 4 times, and then you'll hear the hiss of the brake being released. Now at that point, your train should be coupled, because prototypically it could roll away if you don't have any mechanical brake or the pressure from the cylinder engaging the brakes. So we'll go ahead and turn it up here some. And then I'll apply the brakes. And then go ahead and release the brakes. So about the time that I put the brakes on, the compressor kicked on at the same time. And then to go ahead and if you were to push it back somewhere and uncouple and want to remove this from the consist, just run your magnet over the top again. Sound of the wheel, the brake being applied, and then there you go. And in this case, this one, the way it's programmed, it's not hard to do, just following the instructions. If you don't do that, then you'd have to dial it up by address 3 or whatever you program this, and you'd have to press function 9 to turn on and off the compressor. But I didn't want to have to mess with that. You know, I'm the engineer controlling the train. I shouldn't have to worry about turning on and off the Reefer. But that's the way it comes out of the package. So with some slight programming and adjustment of event probability, you can have it run automatically the way this one is. So I'm going to take this, it's probably, yeah, it did shut off. Let's see if I can get, I'll pause it real quick and I'll take it off the rail just so you can see how well the current keeper works. Okay, so it just started up. And I could turn off the track power, but so as you can see, that's more than enough time to clear a insulated switch or hit some dirty track or whatever. See, it ran the whole cycle. It still has power. If you put your ear close enough to one of these things, you will hear a slight pop. But you really got to be listening for it. And there, it's like just a tiny static pop. And unless you're listening for it, you won't catch it. But that is telling me that it has exhausted all its power. So anyway, hope you enjoyed it. And I enjoyed installing it. And it's just, I like the flexibility of their products. Soundtraxx has really came up with something here that I've kind of fell in love with. I love what they've done with the Tsunami 2s as well as, you know, going back the Tsunamis. I really liked those back in the day, but this newer product is it's pretty cool. Very, very versatile with 6 functions that you can add with for lighting or whatever you'd want. I mean, this Soundcar decoder is very, very flexible. So, hope you enjoyed it, and thanks for watching.